To me, heartfulness is a blueprint for any leader. Babuji was an epitome of love. Chariji was epitome of communication and epitome of building an institution. Daaji, he's an epitome of scaled management. He's an epitome of conviction. I don't belong to heartfulness. Heartfulness belongs in me. So I try to use that as a compass of the ability to meditate and pause and get that inner guidance of how to react to a given situation. In business, when you're growing at that space, you are faced with a lot of obstacles, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of blind spots. So meditation has been that instrument on a daily basis for me to really filter out the right solutions for those obstacles, challenges, and blind spots, and seeing that others can't see those corner problems.
Thank you so much, Ravi Bhai, for being here. Thank you for taking out time and coming to the Kana studio. And it's a real pleasure to have you here.
Rudy Bhai, thank you. Thanks for having me. It was so nice of you to have me here in your studio.
No, you've such an interesting life story. We are going to get into it. So I was really looking forward to this. And let's start right at the beginning. You grew up in a small town and your family also was in the freedom movement, was involved in the freedom movement in India. So can you tell us about where your story started?
Yeah, so my maternal grandfather is a freedom fighter. So he had multiple freedom situations where he had to be in the jail for almost 10 years. Wow. So he had a Freedom Fighter Award from Indira Gandhi those days. But then, that's how I learned how to be courageous. And my paternal grandfather is a farmer. Again, during the Razakar moments,
Oh, wow. So whereabouts was this? Where do you hail from?
I hail from Nalgonda district.
Okay.
And that was ruled by the Nizams and
of
the
course,
Razakars.
of course.
So I saw the real hard knocks of how to come over challenges. So I grew up watching that in a very close quarter, because though I grew up in small town across various parts of the country, but we used to always go back to the villages and see.
So you maintained your connection with your roots in a certain way.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that's something that my parents always instilled in us, that that's how, because they knew that how with least means that we had, we still were able to stay rooted to the core values of life and so on and so forth. So
wow.
So from my paternal grandfather, I learned how to develop humility and service in farming. And from paternal grandfather, it's more about, voice out for what matters, and irrespective of whatever happens, don't leave your, personality, irrespective of how successful you are.
So did they discuss the challenges they had faced with you in your childhood? Were there discussions? Do you remember those?
Oh, a lot of them. Oh, yeah. In fact, my maternal grandfather was the first investor in my entrepreneurship journey, and I'll talk to you about that. And so I did farming with them. I went into the, so whether it's peanut farming or rice paddy farming. So I spent a lot of time. They taught me how to swim, my grandfather. So for example, my paternal grandfather, they were three brothers. And one of the brother got adopted by his uncle because he didn't have kids. And then it so happened that in 1945, the other two brothers got shot by Razakars.
Oh my God.
And he was lucky that he got adopted into a different village. Otherwise,
he would have met the same fate.
He would have met the same fate. So I exist today because of that luck. But then, challenges that they had the second kid after he was adopted. Now the situation starts where the assets gets divided disproportionately because there's a difference between an adopted kid versus
okay.
right. So now you have a grandfather with 7 kids with 3 acres of land to survive on. And then despite all that, I could see, I associate my grandfather a lot with my Adi Guru, Babuji. They look alike. And then similar to my Babuji, I think my grandfather was an epitome of love, despite all the challenges. So while I see a lot of challenges, we've had a lot of conversations and discussions, but there was never a feeling of disappointment or unfair. This was part of the survival of the fittest. And
Wow. So was there also a spiritual grounding growing up there in your childhood? Do you remember? Was there any spiritual inclination?
Yeah. So very good question. The reason is because while the rest of the country was ruled by British, right? The part of Andhra is ruled by Nizams. As a result, there was a lot of vacuum created, because to fight against the Nizams, the religious beliefs were put aside. It was more of the communism took birth in Nalgonda, in Telangana. The communism actually started in India because the Maoist culture. And the whole idea was the religion and a belief to the God actually makes you weaker, not stronger, and it divides us. So if we have to be together, if we have to fight for our cause, we don't want to make this.
We have to go beyond religion.
Beyond religion. So by the time, after post-independence, there was a lot of, they skipped the generation. My grandfathers and my ancestors skipped the generation of true belief in religion. They believed, so my grandfather wrote, Ramakoti, it's called. He wrote Sri Rama, the book, for 1 crore times.
Wow.
Sri Ram.
Wow.
Right? So that's how he meditated.
As a spiritual practice.
As a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
So he wrote a whole Ramakoti. And my father, again, he adopted spirituality way in 1972. And he got sittings from Babuji those days. So yeah, for me, I'm born in that, fortunately, with the true understanding of what spirituality can do in a practical life.
Fantastic. So now you are growing up in this farming household, essentially, in Nalgonda. How does the jump to tech start? It's a far cry from a tech startup or a tech company. How did you get into that? What is that story?
Yeah, so it wasn't very well planned. So my entropy took me to that, what came. But then, given the background I had of we grew up in a lot of scarcity. We grew up with significant less opportunities.
Sure.
And I grew up that make the best of the opportunity you have. Right. So that kind of became part of the DNA right from 2 generations. So wherever I saw an opportunity never look for a perfect one. But then if there's an opportunity, I would go into it. So it so happened that when I finished my engineering, in the final year, when I was yet waiting for my results, I joined a friend of mine who had a computer training institute. He was teaching various programming languages. But the shortfall that he had was he was very brainy teaching new programming, but he didn't know what to do with those trained resources or people. So then I joined him as a partner, where I took care of I created another side of his business, which is helping these people, get jobs. So you're talking about 92, 93 time frame.
Well, this is just when tech is starting up.
So that's when we kind of joined hands, and I helped all in Bangalore, helped all these folks get placed in various Infosys and
So you were in ground zero when it all started.
when it all started.
Wow.
Right? So and that's also because I just finished engineering. I had nothing to do. So that was not a very serious vision of becoming an entrepreneur, but to basically make the best use of my time. And so that kind of created an opportunity for me to say, okay, I like that, right? I like that. And then the fact that I was to get a lot of kick out of helping people get jobs. And that's how it started, is a tech.
So it almost sounds as if it's almost accidental. Huh? You just kind of, from engineering, probably the trajectory you would have imagined was something in the engineering space, but then you get into tech because you're with this friend. And you mentioned something that you didn't wait for the perfect opportunity. You took hold of whatever opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a guideline you've lived by and has held good for you?
Yeah, I think more than the opportunity, I think I've been very conscious about the people I surround with. I've always built enterprises or companies along with people I know. So I always took along with people. So I always believed in synergy value from those days when a friend of mine was very good at doing something, I was good at something, came together, and then we were able to appreciate each other's strengths. And then that synergy created a lot of, removed a lot of hurdles in any entrepreneurship. So for me, that was a good learning that when I'm with people. To me, I think that was very important. Trust and relationships that you have. And when you do to work together and you enjoy working together more than dreaming about the end result, then I think every day is fun in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's a key thing, because collaboration is really an art, right? It's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people aren't comfortable working with others. Some people want to do solo things. What is the takeaway? How do you make a collaboration successful?
Well, that's a very loaded question, because collaboration means ability to work with every kind of a person around you, right? Because I grew up in a community where we were dealing with all kinds of diversity of people across India and level of people. So very early on, I stumbled upon that there are different people, and there are red, green, blue, yellow. It's called a book called Surrounded by Idiots, where you feel that if people are not like you tend to feel that they're not the right people to work with. So you end up working with people just like you. Mm-hmm. And that's the recipe for disaster for entrepreneurship.
Of course.
So for entrepreneurship, you want to be working with all the four types of people. So that kind of helped me in acknowledging that, number one. Number two, I think, because I grew up in a family of that appreciated spirituality, and more than spirituality and inner growth, the constant investment in coming out of your shortfalls. To me, spirituality is a vehicle to evolve out of your shortfalls. And that acknowledgement that happens of your shortfalls during meditation, and then the journey that you do inwards, that helps in acknowledging if there are shortfalls around you in people. So where you're not necessarily looking at the shortfalls as a weakness, but an opportunity to contribute as a friend, as a collaboration, as partners, right? In entrepreneurship, you spend more time with your business partner than with your life partner.
Yeah, sure.
So if you are not empathetic about that, if that's your value add in partnership, it's not just about monetary results, but it's also about, are we together evolving? So I think, to me, that kind of helped appreciate and have actually looked at as an opportunity to work with various types of people rather than looking at it as a challenge.
Very interesting. And of course, then you were met with so much success. You scaled up your company to 2,500 employees. What was that journey like? I mean, because that's not something that everybody goes through. It's like there must be lessons in that.
Yeah, I think obviously this was my third venture that I grew to 2,500 employees. I think the reason for scale that, like I mentioned earlier, was building people. We kept it as more important than building products. So as an organization, like I mentioned, I always looked at as an opportunity to invest in people, and kept it not invest in building hierarchies, giving autonomy, not controlling as a leader. I think that helped in creating scale where people felt owners of their whatever work they do, and I think and felt that an organization is investing in them. So I used to have people come from all the big five tech companies, whether it's big five of West, which is Accenture, IBMs of the world, or India, Infosys, Cognizants of the world. And they used to join us being smaller because they saw that they have a bigger opportunity for growth, both in self as well as responsibilities. So that kind of created, I would say those are the reasons of organization growing, not necessarily unicorn as an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's so when we exited, we created about close to 50 crore-patis.
Wow. So when you sold that business, what was that feeling like? I mean, because you built this baby and you sold it for a huge amount. But does that feel like a victory? Does that feel like a vindication? Or is that emptiness? Is that completion? What is that like? I mean, and how do you choose, is this right? Is this not right?
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely it was a victory on the paper. But deep inside my heart, there was a pause. Because we never knew throughout the whole almost 14 years of that business that we would have that kind of an exit, or that would be our end state of that business. But then definitely it was a very good exit in terms of victory on the paper. But so when I paused, when we looked at it, it created a void. Money gave me freedom, but it didn't give me meaning.
Mm.
So I felt like it's an opportunity to. I felt like God has been kind to give me an opportunity to do something meaningful, more impactful, and can touch something in a bigger canvas than. So that was my pause moment. That it's a wonderful opportunity to create something more meaningful than.
So you didn't think that this is now, because it was such a good thing on paper, such a large amount you sold the business for, that this was time to just call it quits, hang up the boots, and just relax?
No, it's very natural that to feel that way. But given my background, that I never felt retirement is something that I would ever embrace in any form or fashion. But I was. It was very conscious decision that we, as we get at certain age, that I wanted to do something more meaningful than a business to business enterprise. Though I was helping the community in creating more jobs, and in my own village and communities, I was provider for a lot of jobs. But then I said I have the opportunity now to do something more. So yeah, absolutely. I would say it was 2.0. To me, that was a 1.0, end of 1.0. And to me, I felt like this is the beginning of something.
Yeah, I heard you say also that it was more about impact creation now, rather than your focus shifted from wealth creation to impact creation.
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. So to me, now it shifted from how much to how many. How much success do you have to how many humans did I touch.
Wow.
So that's a shift.
And do you think this comes from your spiritual background, from your engagement with heartfulness?
Absolutely. Heartfulness obviously is in my DNA. But but I think it comes from applying heartfulness and deep spiritual wisdom in and balancing creating a closed loop between the inner journey and the outer journey created a more practical understanding of heartfulness on a day-to-day life to me. I think that's kind of what I feel more blessed to have, that kind of exposure to convert the wisdoms of our hierarchy in heartfulness and the wisdom of ancient to really bring that in a day-to-day life. And it feels very joyful of when you see that you can. I feel like everyone has the same wisdom. It's just that they need to unleash it. And to me, heartfulness is a beautiful mechanism to unleash that inner wisdom that everybody has, and that it becomes very interesting when you know how much potential you have. So to me, I think that was the reason for me to even come out of enterprise and do something more impactful. Is really I felt like I have a practical sauce that could help. Having worked with thousands of people, I felt like there's a more practical way to decipher what we do in heartfulness and overall spiritual wisdom to masses. So that's kind of why it excites me. The 2.0 is more exciting than the 1.0.
Personally, for you, you grew up in a household that was already, they had met Babuji and were taking, had been got into the heartfulness practice with Babuji. But sometimes it's like, we rebel from what we get, from what our parents are telling us, because growing up, we feel that we know better. Did you take to heartfulness easily, or did you have your moments of, no, this is not for me, I want to do something else?
Good question. I never contemplated on good for me or not good for me. I don't feel like it's to me. I was an observer of a lot of transformation around me, and I was and I'm used to taking whatever best in people or systems or whatever is around me, and that became natural to me. That if you feel that is, so I saw in heartfulness from how it has scaled as a management, as an entrepreneur. To me, heartfulness is a blueprint for any leader. In a sense, when Babuji was an epitome of love, Chariji was epitome of communication and epitome of building an institution. Then when I saw Daaji, he's an epitome of scale, scaled management. He's an epitome of conviction and fearless conviction when you have content. Right? He's an epitome of sacrifice, for the betterment of humanity. So for me, it's 1.0 to 2.0 to 3.0. And I've seen my father, my parents, similar evolution from their shortfalls. As you can imagine, from hand to mouth post-independence to my father doing a PhD and adopting to spirituality and evolving out of all his inner shortfalls in one generation. So, and he's given me a platform that even if half of that platform I would give for my kids, I'm making an impact for my future generations. So for me, that was the reason I would say that's what I see as a benefit that has helped me is I was able to observe the transformation in one generation. And I was able to see the impact of that in my own surrounding, both at work and at home. So yeah, that definitely has played a significant role in my operating system.
And was there a particular moment where you felt that, yeah, you belong in Heartfulness? Like a lot of us have a time, or some, it happened gradually that, or what, did you just grow into it?
I don't belong to Heartfulness. Heartfulness belongs in me. So I think it's in me. I don't see Heartfulness being outside. So I try to use that as a compass of the ability to meditate and pause and get that guidance, inner guidance of how to react to a given situation. In business, when you're growing at that space, you are faced with a lot of obstacles, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of blind spots. So meditation has been that instrument on a daily basis for me to use that as that pause to really filter out the right solutions for those obstacles, challenges, and blind spots, and seeing that others can't see those corner problems. So I've used it so it belongs in me. I would not give that away.
Wonderful. A lot of people say that we learn more from mistakes than we do from actually what we achieve. Now, you've had such a successful innings as a founder, entrepreneur. What are the biggest mistakes or maybe challenges you faced?
Challenges, of course, there's a laundry list of that I've faced, which is, try to live with the values that you have. At the same time, the entropy of greed continues when you're an entrepreneur, and taking a path of least resistance to certain things that may not be the right thing to do. And when you're a businessman, you have enormous opportunities to get sidetracked. So I've learned that from my ancestors and my parents, that at the end of the day, when you are when your values are strong and you are you don't have a guilt of anything, I think, and how strong you can be in what you do, irrespective whether all odds might be against you. If you have zero guilt, I think you can shake a mountain. So I think that kind of despite all the possibilities, I kind of tried to stay core to the value system of what our roots have taught us. And challenges wise, living with scarce means, I mean, we never had I remember for 40 years my father's bank book would always be in red. I've never seen it green. Mm-hmm. So it's always making the ends meet at the lowest possible. So trying to live it in lowest possible means has helped me to not get overly carried away with top line. So that kind of challenges are many. I mean, when you are building an enterprise, biggest challenge was convincing the partners that we need to move to 2.0.
Absolutely, because shifting those paradigms is always a problem, because there are certain ways in which people get used to operating. But now the landscape is changing all the time. It's such a shifting landscape, and there are so many young entrepreneurs out there. If you had to advise them, if you had to tell them, what is a one piece of advice you would like to give entrepreneurs of today?
Yeah, so I think for today, I mean, today's entrepreneur landscape is very different than when I started. I mean,
and the rate of change is so quick that tomorrow it'll be something different.
So I want to be mindful that I'm not saying what I would say when I was starting out. So I think today what I see is there's significant void of values. I think if the words of wisdom are more powerful than the void of values. So I think if today's entrepreneur, any business that they do, or anything that they want to start, if they can trust in their own inner potential by whatever their means, it could be meditation, it could be whatever their means are. But if they have a compass within them that can get them to move away from the so-called entropy that we call, which is only getting faster, that you mentioned, the distractions, because today billions of dollars are going towards monetizing your time
and attention. Yeah,
attention, right? So the social media and the distraction and the attention that is getting monetized. If you find a smarter way to convert that to your own inner growth, inner journey, if entrepreneurship gives you the ability to grow your inner, within you, I think it creates a better meaning for entrepreneurship than an idea to become successful. So I think finding that meaning, why you are becoming an entrepreneur. Are you becoming an entrepreneur because you want to bring out the best of you and your potential? Through this journey, you become something more distilled and more finer than a business. Then sooner or later you will be successful, because at the end of the day, any business is all about people. You cannot do a business without people, and people should see who you really are deep inside, not the wrapper around you, because sooner or later they'll know who you are.
Yeah, you can only keep the facade on for so long.
Right. With so today's entrepreneurs, if they can understand that what they see is not what's real. So because of everything that is getting thrown at them, if they can find a way to go deeper, and so then it becomes. So I would say, any young entrepreneur, know yourself before you build something new. Because at the end of the day, your business is your identity. You cannot keep that two separate. So if your success of business depends on how, because I keep saying to my team, right, when we build a business, we say dreams are not that you get when you sleep. Dreams are those that don't let you sleep.
Wow.
Right? So you are, any entrepreneur, his business is his dream. And if you want to keep that, so you want to be, So I think, I would say successful entrepreneurs are people who feel they have a mechanism to know themselves better than their innovation. Because innovation today, like you said, it's in a fast-changing world today. What is today a style statement is not tomorrow.
True.
It's changing so fast. So a lot of entrepreneurs I've created about in my 20 years, we had about between 30 to 40 new entrepreneurs budding out of our company. And significant number have faced challenges and so on. Is largely because, very quick to say that, we are ahead of the market, or our technology the timing is an issue, the people are an issue. And so you'll see a lot of reasons. But at the end of the day, if you want to make it successful, it's all because of you as an entrepreneur that you can come over that. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And after all this experience of so many businesses and starting up so many things and selling your business also, you're still in the game. And we were talking about your latest venture, Kitab. And I can't help thinking this doesn't really sound like a venture. It sounds like a mission. How did that start?
Yeah. So I think it's, I don't know how it started because I think it was not like one day I woke up and said, I want to build Kitab, right? This is, given that I'm Heartfulness is within me, and, some level of consciousness is within me in terms of I'm constantly aware of that what business I'm doing versus who I am. So I always had that void. I'm talking about 2011. So, and I said, my kids were very young, elementary school, and I was seeing that being in technology, I need to do something. So I wanted to build something for kids, and where they're not going on computers and getting all kinds of information that is not appropriate to them. So Kitab came as a kid's tablet. That was the idea. So I registered Kitab, saying that I want to do something beyond this thing. So fast forward, I had multiple evolutions of my thought process in Kitab. But then, so for me, the moment when I paused after, I saw a huge opportunity for me personally to grow faster in what I wanted to learn, because I learned a lot of management books through audio, but then I did not have the opportunity to go deeper into our 3,000 years of ancient wisdom. I grew up in Bhagavad Gita, but then the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Vedas,
as you're saying, contemporary management tools are available.
Contemporary are available, but that also I had the intersection of that. For last many years, I've been listening to a lot of books, and because when I'm operating a business, I always, whenever I have a challenge, I'm able to listen to something and apply it. So management books are available. So one, I saw that there's, if I learned and I'm able to retrieve that knowledge and apply it, I should be able to figure out a way to provide that wisdom available where people are putting in various books to people. And being an entrepreneur and having built technology around AI and knowing spirituality and the value of the spirituality on a day-to-day life, I wanted to bring something at the intersection of these four. The audio books in a summary format, ancient wisdom and the power of that on a day-to-day life to fill the void of values, the entrepreneurship and the power of AI. So when I saw that, that's the birth of Kitab as a book. Right?
So originally it was a tablet, right? It was going to be a tablet.
Originally it was still about education, but with the software and the hardware brought together to help kids grow at their own pace. But then, given that I had my business and I couldn't spend time, so that almost for 10 years, I wanted to find a right point when I kind of switch myself into. So I think at least in last 5 years, this was pulling me because I enjoyed a lot in listening to a lot of books in a summary format. Immediately after I exited my last business, this is when I kind of put this together. I started writing a book. So I wrote half of the book, which is Conscious Evolution in the AI Revolution. So halfway in the book, I said, what would make more impact? Given when I was writing a book, I was able to bring all my experiences, thoughts, and technology together. And I said, instead of spending more time in writing a book, if I can use my resources, what I have in building something, that will touch more people than a book that will probably sit in a shelf. When I started talking to people to see which is the direction, almost 80% of the people told me that they hardly read 10% of the books. And when I asked them in last 1 year, which book did you complete? Hardly anyone said that they completed a book. They said for various distractions, they could hardly finish a book. So that was very revealing for me. When people have libraries but picking up books, but they're not reading, and people's attention has been so distracted that they're not able to complete a book. So that's when I said, I don't want to write a book, which anyway anyone won't read it. I rather build something that will solve the problem where people can still get wisdom without necessarily reading the entire book.
Fantastic. And how did you fix on the name? Of course, Kitab means book, but was it easy to come up with the name or?
Well, very interesting, right? So for me, I fell in love with that word because my Adi Guru, who grew up in UP, he had a blend of both. He wrote Urdu and he spoke great Hindi. And Kitab is both Hindi and Urdu. In Urdu,
it is what we would call Hindustani. It's a mix of.
It's a mix of both, and it meant right? So that was one, that I wanted to build something that is appealing to, so to me, that name was given from him, right? In the way that, and 70% of world population knows Kitab is a book. So that was the second reason. There was an instant appeal. And in India, people who read books are called Kitabi Kida. So I want to make more Kitabi Kidas. And so I fell in love with the word, especially because, Kitab also means, in dictionary, Kitab means spiritual text.
So it has all these connotations.
That's why I said it was not something that I engineered, but it happened. It landed with me for a reason I can't explain. But these were some of the reasons I fell in love with Kitab. So Kitab came to me. I didn't go to Kitab.
Wonderful. As you mentioned, these days people are challenged. Their attention is drawn by so many different things. There are so many distractions, and especially teenagers and youngsters. They don't really, they have a very short attention span. So if for someone with a short attention span, if you had to explain Kitab in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say? What is Kitab?
Great question, right? Before I give that one sentence, right? I think, what is the current landscape, right? I'm very hopeful of the extremely good future, but what is the current state? The current state is there is an anxious generation today, and the anxious generation is not necessarily anxious because of their doing. It's because of the generation before, which has been introduced to all kinds of innovations to distract them from spending time with family.
True.
My father came at 5 o'clock at home, nothing else to do, is silently observing what we're doing and intervening exactly when we need to. And that gave me the freedom to operate, but not having an helicopter mom or helicopter dad constantly telling me what to do, given that they were already, distracted with. So the anxious generation that we are talking about is not necessarily anxious because of their doing. It was because we didn't give
what they inherited,
attention.
basically.
They inherited. So given that backdrop, right, that's kind of how I felt. The fear of missing out has become so. And what I see is that I've got 2 kids. I have a daughter and a son, and we talk. And when I go deeper in, I think what I've realized is human beings more and more are not willing to reveal their shortfalls even to the closest one. It's a fundamental human mindset that if I reveal, you would take advantage of.
Absolutely. I understand that. And that's also, it's the other way around. They won't ask for help either.
They won't ask for help. And especially this generation is not necessarily asking for help. And they are also bombarded by so much information that they are always in this fear of missing out mindset. So that is creating this all kinds of stress, anxiety, and various other issues. So that's, Kitab is solving the problem. That is, it is a personalized life coach for every single individual. It's a personalized life coach powered by AI, taking the wisdom out of thousands of books, both from ancient wisdom and modern knowledge. And AI is able to create an age-appropriate, information available. So, like any audiobook is talking to you, Kitab is listening to you. So if you go to a fitness and you have a gym coach, he's always listening to you because your body type and your needs are different than the other. So he will give you recommendation on what you should be working on, very personalized to you, vis-a-vis your friend. Kitab is exactly that. It's a personalized life coach that exactly understands you and makes sure whatever universal wisdom out there is brought to you in the way you can not only read or listen, but you can retain and you can retrieve it in your day-to-day life. So for me, Kitab is an AI-enabled personalized life coach.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. Can you explain the workflow a bit? That where is this AI going to get its information from, and how is it going to be delivered to me if I am a Kitab customer? What am I going to get as the end user? Am I going to get an audiobook? Am I going to get a chapter to read every day? What is going to be the workflow of that?
Yeah. So there's a lot that's going within it, right? We're calling the Kitab is the conscious AI. And this conscious AI is built on conscious operating system. So it's all about, so what we are doing, we're taking ancient wisdom from all the scriptures across. We're starting with Bhagavad Gita. And we're going to take all the other ancient scriptures. We're connecting that to the modern knowledge, the psychology, the neurology. So we have psychologists who talk about various modern books. And then AI, with using the power of AI, we're able to convert these books into 15 to 20 minutes summaries, key insights from each book, between 6 to 10 insights. What is that author's trying to tell? We make sure that the true essence of what is an author trying to say, whether it is a spiritual book from Heartfulness called, Wisdom Bridge, or Designing Destiny, or Spiritual Anatomy, or even Bhagavad Gita, for example. We worked with the Gita team at Heartfulness, with ISKCON and many other scholars, and we converted the entire complex Bhagavad Gita into 108 bite-sized insights. So these bite-sized insights from books from across the genres are stitched together. These bites are stitched together to create what is called as wisdom journey. So you can listen to a book or read a book in summary within 15 to 20 minutes, or we are extracting those bites and making those bites available so that in 2 to 3 minutes you actually can understand a topic. So those are bites. And then these bites, when stitched together, we are creating wisdom journeys, whether it is from anger to love, anxiety to calm, or, how do you get from current state to future state?
Wow.
So our vision is that people want to move from their current state and go to the end state. And those transformation journeys are what we're calling wisdom journeys, that are built on those bites that are coming out of books from the ancient, from all the wisdom that is from 3,000 years ago to the current day books. So that's Kitab for you, how we are. At the end of the day, it's a personalized life coach, because these journeys are transformation journeys that helps each individual to transform themselves as they're going inwards, right? They are able to transform from their current state to the desired state.
Amazing. And you've also mentioned that you don't look at Kitab as a product, essentially. It's more of a lifestyle. It's a movement kind of thing. So we want to see it evolve in that way.
Yes, I think the response has been phenomenal. People are loving it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that it touches 1 billion people's heart and life, because the need for the wisdom, need for making wisdom bite-size is huge, because the scriptures are very complex and big, long,
daunting, yes,
but the world is moving towards shorts and reels and bites, and you can't change that entropy. But what we could do using the power of AI and technology, I think we can make this available in a bite size, right? So yeah, absolutely. I think it is a movement. Kitab is a movement that I would love to see. People who believe that we can be a contributor to the next generation to move from void of values to becoming wise with wisdom. I think Kitab is the vehicle. And I think love to see as many people join that movement in spreading the word, because that's what we can give to our next generations, is make them more and more wiser, because AI is information, human is conscious. So I think we want more and more in the age of AI, if we want to make sure that we don't get caught up in the age of AI, I think we should become more and more conscious.
Absolutely. So, what are the platforms, brother, you have thought of Kitab will be available on finally?
Kitab will be available on both iOS and Google Android marketplaces. So, and it will be available on kitab.com. Right. So anybody from around the world will be able to download, and most of the ancient wisdom is available for free. And we want to make sure it can anywhere from 13 years old to 80 years old can use it, and it will be available in multiple languages to start with, in English and Hindi. But then it will go into at least 12 languages by December. But the vision is that Kitab is for anyone, anywhere, anytime, irrespective of one is educated or not.
This is so interesting. And how do you view the Heartfulness and Kitab collaboration coming along?
It is phenomenal. Heartfulness and Kitab collaboration. I mean, we've leveraged Heartfulness is the design partner, because I understand heartfulness so deeply, and it gives me an opportunity to, to me, Kitab is my personal evolution as well, because it gives me more time to go deeper into all the wonderful literature that Heartfulness, has, like thousands of articles and whispers and books, and so this gave me a reason to go deeper, because I'm also a victim of entropy. When you are an entrepreneur, when you are successful, you can imagine that there's enormous opportunities that comes presenting you. So, but this gave me a reason to keep grounded with going deeper. So, So to me, Heartfulness has been it's a phenomenal design partner for Kitab, given that I'm able to accelerate my master's vision of helping humanity in a large scale today. I'm able to democratize the very simple recipes that Heartfulness has, that is very practical. Go democratize that globally. To me, Heartfulness has been a beautiful partner for me. That I have great partnership with Daaji. Daaji has been a big supporter of democratizing this. So it's been coming out beautiful. We'll have Heartfulness on Kitab available on this 28th of September, and the response has been phenomenal, and the entire team at Heartfulness has been more than supportive. They've been phenomenally open to do whatever it is required to make sure that we not only help all the existing practitioners of Heartfulness go deeper by better understanding, but also bring in new practitioners, new seekers, to make sure that they understand the simple teachings of Heartfulness at wherever they are in the world.
It's fantastic. One of the dangers, of course, with AI, which unmonitored AI, is like you can get all sorts of information which may not be useful for you, may be harmful actually. There was one case where a person was searching on the best way to commit suicide, and AI was helping him get that information. So that is a danger that everyone is very aware of. But with a platform like Kitab, that will not be a possibility, because you are only dealing with wisdom.
We are dealing with the wisdom coming from various books, right? It's a books platform at the end of the day. Books have multiple chapters.
So it's not using random information from the net.
It is absolutely not using. And then the operating system is, the entire, the models built within Kitab are very consciously built, so that we are not against the social media, but I think what I have experienced is once you get used to unleashing your inner wisdom, because I believe that every human being has been given enormous wisdom, but it is layered with enormous layers of grossness. But within few hours, if after 3 or 4 sessions in Kitab, or 3 days of adoption of Kitab with 3 books, I could see a person shifting their mindset, that why they're wasting so much time when there's so easy. And because we are not teaching anything new. Kitab, what I've learned is wisdom is innately there in everyone. You just have to unleash it. And Kitab is just doing that. He's just bringing your wisdom out by bringing examples and relating it, so that way you say, aha. So I think I've seen a lot of people getting automatically moving away from the various distractions to inner growth through this. And so I think you're absolutely right. AI has its own evolution, and there will be casualties before we come to a clear direction and control. But I think it's also an opportunity. I think we are at an inflection point where when I'm talking to users, there's already a fatigue of information. There's already fatigue of distractions, if I may. So I think people are now feeling they want to use their time for a better purpose. So I see that innately there's significant gold rush for people wanting to practice yoga, practice spirituality, practice meditation, wanting to become wiser. So I don't think we have to create a demand.
Yeah, that is there.
Demand exists.
Yeah.
We just have to simplify.
So true.
I think Kitab just does that, right? It just simplifies so that everyone who has that innate need can start adopting. I think sooner or later, I see a better world where, we have the world of people who are conscious.
Absolutely. So making ancient wisdom accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. Ancient wisdom, and the only thing that will flow beyond our being on this planet is that wisdom that will continue to, it's permanent wisdom, right? Wisdom is not somebody who woke up one morning. Wisdom is something that they learned from hard knocks and captured that for the next generation. So when you have that wisdom already available, what I've noticed is whether you are in stress, whether you are in business, whether you are in relationship, for every question in life, there's an answer there in the wisdom. And it's very simple answers. And I think over generations, I think as anything would happen, it only got complicated with different versions and different volumes of those wisdom. But I think I see that if we can make that simplified, people don't have to look anywhere else.
Absolutely. That sounds, I really wish this reaches more and more people, reaches as many people as it can. I'm going to ask you a provocative question.
Sure.
Do you think Kitab is going to put gurus and life coaches out of business?
Kitab is... very interesting question. Where did you come up with that question? I haven't thought that through. But a great question, right? I think Kitab is going to make gurus, or to me, the masters they have mastered something. Like my master, for example, he's mastered his thoughts. He's mastered his habits. He's mastered the art of cleaning samskaras, or cleaning his past impressions and become a better person tomorrow. That's why he's a master, because he's mastered that. If you can master your thoughts, your habits, and your impressions, and you become a better person, then you follow them. So, so Kitab is a means that my master can democratize his mastery to everyone. Not only it is democratizing, but it is actually helping my master in give me his mastery in a personalized way to me by making sure the Kitab is able to give him the enough data points to say, where is Ravi struggling? Where is he needing intervention? He probably doesn't need all my masteries on a buffet. He needs exactly. So I think Kitab is going to help a lot of these wonderful leaders of spirituality provide their wisdom in a very personalized way to every individual. And the reason I say that, because over the last 10 years, I've noticed significant increase in the number of people who are going in this direction. But then the problem for these spiritual leaders, I also see on the other side, when my Adi Guru, when my father was getting sittings from Babuji, there were 100 people. And he used to get a personalized wisdom. Today, it's impractical for me to expect that I will get a personalized wisdom from my guru, or irrespective of which organization they are. So I think Kitab is going to actually enable these spiritual leaders to actually translate what they know in a way every single individual gets value out of it. And because I think the reason I say that is because I've seen that the translation between what the masters think and why they have so much conviction in certain things and to the last mile, it gets diluted.
So true.
And so when it gets diluted, if a person doesn't see the value in the first few sittings or days, then they're permanently out of the loop. So there is that danger that I feel like it is important that when they are becoming seekers, that they really truly understand the value that they would get and how they
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, what I've noticed is also the teacher has to repeat himself so often because, as you said, the numbers are increasing and there's a lot of repetition. But Kitab, I think, will save that because, you can answer this one question that everybody has in one go rather than having to, physically answer that question again and again.
Absolutely. I mean, me and Daaji, when we were having conversation, he loved this idea of where we're going to mine all the things Daaji has said over last so many years, and we're going to create an Ask Daaji that is coming exactly what Daaji has said, but like exactly what you said, right? Daaji doesn't have to repeat what he's already said for a given question. So that's the case with a lot of this, right? The people have given answers for this, but then, like I said, they have to repeat that so many times. Now,
Absolutely.
with the power of AI, if I'm able to ask Daaji a question and if Daaji has answered that question in the previous context, then it's made available to me. So it makes, to your question, it makes the spiritual leaders also continue to evolve in their journey while they are not getting.
So true. So true. I wanted to ask, what was Daaji's reaction the first time you told him about Kitab? How is his interaction with you been?
I was nervous because I didn't want to go to Daaji before I have something to show, right? I didn't want to give him a concept, and I didn't want to, but I was very pleasantly surprised. To my benefit, I took my wife along just to keep, because I know Daaji has a soft corner for women than men, in the sense that he has a lot of appreciation for the role women
play. So you took her security.
Huh? Insurance. Insurance. So it worked. It worked. So Daaji was surprisingly very positive, more than positive. I was very surprised with the ideas he gave me, because I would have expected him to say, okay, how would it work? How will you summarize? How will he? But then, I sent him, before I met him, I sent him few samples of how things would work. But then he immediately started talking about, hey, make sure the voices are the best, because people have to fall in love with the voice. And he started giving ideas of within Heartfulness who has the great voice, and his ideas around how to leverage the social media and go places. One brilliant idea, when I asked him, Daaji, which ancient wisdom should we start with and which should we bring, he was like, the ancient wisdom, every single wisdom in the ancient scripture has so much value, so I don't think you should be selective. If you can bring every wisdom possible, bring it on. And he removed I wasn't sure how how aggressive he would be around promoting it, but he was like, just come back to me if anything is a roadblock. Go as aggressive and let's take it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I was, after that, I became more motivated and, so to say, business-wise aggressive to kind of move without any second thought.
Yeah,
right?
That's a great pep talk. No coach could give a better pep talk than that.
Absolutely. He's very good at it, right? He's very good at it.
Yeah.
And he also, I relate to him a lot. And I related to all my three masters at every age, because for me, it was fortunate that I was born in Heartfulness, as mentioned. So it's in me. It came in my DNA because I was born after my father was a part of Heartfulness. So for me, when I was a child, the love of Babuji helped. When I was in my teens, my charisma of Chariji
and the discipline of
Chariji. And when I grew up as an entrepreneur, my outlook as a leader and my outlook as larger than an enterprise thinking came from my right. So to me, it's been phenomenal. Yeah, Daaji is a definite role model in terms of not just as a spiritual leader, but also in terms of my business leadership.
And right from the very beginning, Daaji has looked at the positive side of AI, where people are very rightly concerned about the negative sides of AI. He said, but there's positive uses to it also. So he's always focused on the positive use of AI and how it can be helpful. So today, if someone had to take a first step towards Kitab, how would they approach Kitab? Where can they find it?
They can find it at kitab.com, KITAB, kitab.com. They can download it right there. And they can, in another week, they can start downloading from App Store and Google Play Store, whatever, right? So I think, so it is available. So people who don't have internet or can't download, they can always go to website and start experiencing. So yeah, it'll be kitab.com. It can't be more easier than that.
You know what? I know one set of people who will be very unhappy with this, and that is the publishers of these. I've got a 1600-page Mahabharat on my bookshelf. I have Yog Vishisht. I have the Ashtavakra Gita, none of which I've read. So, I'm looking forward to going on to Kitab and checking it out myself. But the publishers are not going to be very happy, I presume.
Actually, publishers are more excited of this. Like we said, like how the spiritual leaders are excited that they don't have to keep repeating the same thing. And now AI can, with power of Kitab, can personalize whatever they've said. So they can spend more time in their mission, right? Similarly, publishers are also struggling to bring people to read their books.
True.
And
bookshops are closing down in every city.
Right? So what Kitab is enabling is giving their books in a summary manner such that it creates interest to read the book.
Yeah, and the serious guys want to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you would read your Bhagavad Gita once you listen to Gita in Kitab, and you will be very surprised that some of the insights are recorded in your voice.
That would be spooky.
No, your voice is in demand. Very, very, very.
That's very kind of you. It's very kind of you to think that my voice is worth putting on Kitab.
I've seen, my kids, they go down Hearts app and they listen to a lot of Heartfulness podcasts, and my wife, my brothers, my sister, they all. So you're always playing in our home.
You must be sick of my voice, brother. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance.
No, phenomenal. I think thank you for also being forthcoming to be part of Kitab in some way. But my goal is to make sure all those books you have, at least you've understood, whether you read it or not. I think I think the true essence of what authors are trying to say in these books. And most of this ancient wisdom is not necessarily anymore worrying any authors.
Well, thank you so much, Ravi. It's been so nice to have you here, brother. And we are really looking forward to Kitab and the launch on the 28th of September. Looking forward, and I hope everyone watching this will visit kitab.com and have an experience for themselves. Thank
Rudy
you
bhai,
so much.
Thank you so much. You've been wonderful, Rudy bhai.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of KanaCast. Do subscribe to KanaCast on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify. Until the next episode, from the entire KanaCast team, Namaste and goodbye.